So I was watching Harry Potter the other day and I was like, hold on, Dumbledore is extremely reckless. So let's get into it. So the first time we see Dumbledore is within the first couple of minutes of the movie. He appears in Privet Drive, and that's the very same street that the Dursleys live on. So when we see Dumbledore, he appears to be all inconspicuous. He walks out of a forest, there's fog everywhere. And then he uses a device called the Deluminator to suck the light out of all the street lamps in the area, right? And I don't know what he was thinking here, because if anybody saw that, they'd be like, hey, what the hell is that? What I'm saying is that if Dumbledore was trying to be inconspicuous, that was not the way to do it. Also, while he's there, Professor McGonagall transforms from a cat into a person right there in the street. And then Hagrid flies in with a flying motorbike with his headlights at full blast. And not only that, when his motorbike lands on the ground, it makes a huge sound. And that sound could have woken anybody up. Now the thing is, before Hagrid arrives, Professor McGonagall is like, is it really wise to trust Hagrid with this task? And Dumbledore goes, yeah, I trust Hagrid with my life.
Do you think it wise to trust Hagrid with something as important as this?
And we get to learn later in the movie that Dumbledore should not have trusted Hagrid so much. In fact, Hagrid turned out to be a liability. Okay, so Hagrid arrives, they drop Harry Potter off at the Dursleys, and after that we get to see Harry Potter grow up with his new family. And let's just say he doesn't have the best upbringing, right?
Now!
He sleeps under the stairs. Nobody in that family likes him, so they treat him like absolute shit. And the thing is, while this is happening, Dumbledore knows that Harry Potter is being mistreated. He knows the conditions that Harry Potter is growing up in. So why didn't he show up one day and be like, hey, if you mistreat Harry Potter one more time, I'm gonna turn you all into rodents. He could have said something like that. He didn't have to do it, but that simple gesture might have helped. And the thing is, even though the Dursleys were muggles, or humans, because his aunt Petunia Dursley was a sister to Harry's mother, the entire family was very aware of the magical world.
We swore when we took him in we'd put a stop to all this rubbish.
So instead of stepping in to help Harry Potter with his troubled childhood, Dumbledore just sits there in Hogwarts going, well, I know Harry's being abused, but if he doesn't die, maybe I'll give Gryffindor 10 points. How's about that? And the twisted thing that nobody really wants to talk about is the fact that because Harry grew up being abused without any love, stability, or protection, he instantly grows a strong attachment to Dumbledore and sees him as a father figure. And as a result, he follows Dumbledore without any question. But I know you guys are not ready for that conversation, so I'll move on. So after being abused for years, Hagrid one day shows up and is like, Harry, you're a wizard, come with me. So Hagrid takes Harry into the wizarding world. He learns about wands, magic, he learns about his parents, and they then end up going to Gringotts Bank, a bank that is so-called impenetrable, and Hagrid picks up an object from there, which turns out to be the Philosopher's Stone, and Harry gets to find out that his parents left him a bucket load of money, and that means he is rich.
Didn't think your mom and dad would leave you with nothing now, did you?
And I know I'm just nitpicking here, and Dumbledore trusts Hagrid immensely, but if Voldemort knew that Hagrid was going to pick up the stone, and keep in mind that Hagrid is not very well versed in magic, any wizard that Voldemort would have sent to take the stone from Hagrid could have taken the Philosopher's Stone with ease. But at the same time, Dumbledore was probably thinking, yes, Hagrid trusts me, he'll never betray me, and nobody would suspect Hagrid of owning the Philosopher's Stone. But it was still a reckless move. So the next time we see Dumbledore's in the Great Hall, Harry's there with his friends, and all the students are there too. And then Dumbledore ends up giving everybody a speech, and in the speech he says something like, welcome to Hogwarts, oh, and before I forget, the dark forest is forbidden to all students, and also, don't go on the 3rd floor because if you do, you might die, right?
To everyone who does not wish to die a most painful death.
I mean, think about this. If you're a kid and somebody tells you not to do something, you're probably gonna do it. And also, imagine if you're a parent, right? And you're a mother or a father and you send your kid to school one day. So when your kid gets home from school, you're like, yo, Johnny, how was school? And then Johnny goes, oh, school was amazing. We learned math. We did some science. Oh, and the principal said if we ever end up on the 3rd floor, there's a chance we might die, but we had fun. School was great. Wouldn't you as a parent go, what the f***? I'm taking my kid out of the school, man. Like, this is not gonna happen. Right? And to make matters even worse, we see Snape arguing with Professor Quirrell right there on the table. And this means that at this point, just a few seats away, Dumbledore is sitting right next to Voldemort. And everybody says, yo, Dumbledore is supposed to be the strongest wizard, blah blah blah. But if that's the case, how did he not notice that Voldemort was sitting right there? Okay. So after this, Harry then goes to his quarters. He gets to sleep in a real bed. He goes to class. He meets Snape, meets Hermione, and soon after this, he finds out that Gringotts, the same bank that he went to with Hagrid, and this means that when Dumbledore trusted Hagrid to move the stone, he was being very smart. Still reckless, but smart. After this, we have the Quidditch training scene. And shortly after this, we have one of the craziest scenes in the movie. In the scene, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are wandering around the castle at night. They're on the staircase when all of a sudden the staircase moves them onto the 3rd floor. So they get to the 3rd floor, and the door to the 3rd floor is unlocked at this point because why not? Hermione then casts a spell to open another door. And then within seconds, they find out they're in the same room with a 3-headed dog. One that could tear them apart in one bite. Right? So in this scene, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are almost unalived by the dog. And the thing is, Hermione even says that the dog is guarding something. And since we've all watched the movie by now, we know that the dog was guarding the Philosopher's Stone. Now, this makes me question what Dumbledore was thinking here. I mean, the wizarding world is a very big place. I'm sure he could have put the stone anywhere. But he was like, should I bury the stone so nobody can find it? Nah. Should I keep it with someone I trust? Nah. Oh, I've got a brilliant idea. I'm gonna hide the Philosopher's Stone, an object that the most evil wizard in the world wants. I'm gonna hide that in a school full of kids. I'm so smart. That's a good idea, right? Because when Dumbledore decided to place that stone in the school, he placed everybody's lives at risk. I don't know, but that sounds very reckless to me. Okay, so sometime after this, Harry and Ron are in the Great Hall once again. Dumbledore's there. And that's when Professor Quirrell runs into the room screaming, "There's a troll on the loose! There's a troll on the loose!" So after this, Harry and Ron realize that Hermione is in the vicinity of the troll.
Oh, Hermione! She doesn't know!
They then end up going to try and save Hermione, and in the process they all end up doing battle with a troll, and then they quickly defeat it. So after doing all the hard work, that's when Professor McGonagall, Snape, and Professor Quirrell arrive, and they're like, "Oh, you did this all by yourself?" 10 points to Gryffindor. And my only thing about this scene is, where is Dumbledore at this point? Doesn't he care about the troll? Is he searching in the wrong location? Like, where is he? Okay, so sometime after this, the Quidditch match takes place, and in this scene we see Professor Quirrell muttering some spell under his breath as he's trying to unalive Harry right in front of everybody else, right? So Snape notices what's going on, and he begins to counter the spell, and Dumbledore, the so-called strongest wizard in the world or whatever, he's just sitting there like, oh, what's going on? This is a good match. But luckily, thanks to quick thinking by Hermione, she saves the day. Okay, so Harry catches the snitch, and then soon after this it's Christmas time, and then Harry gets a mysterious gift, the Cloak of Invisibility or whatever it's called, and this gift was given to him by a mysterious donor. And we find out later in this series that the gift actually came from Dumbledore. Now we can all agree that the gift is awesome, but at the same time, if you're a Dumbledore and you're giving a kid this much power, a cloak that allows you to go invisible, you're essentially saying, look, remember when I said you're not allowed to wander the school grounds freely? Well, that rule applies to everybody else, but not you, Harry. So here's something to make your exploration a little bit easier. There you go. Right, so Dumbledore essentially gave Harry permission to wander around the school grounds, a place with deadly creatures and stuff like that, with ease. So by doing this, Dumbledore was placing Harry in danger. There's no doubt about that. Oh, and I forgot to mention that before this scene, the kids go to see Hagrid, and they're like, "Hagrid, I think Snape is trying to unalive us." Hagrid then goes, "Don't worry about it. We all trust Snape."
Professor Snape is a Hogwarts teacher.
The kids then say they know about the 3-headed dog. Then Hagrid then starts telling them secret information that they should not know about.
What that dog is guarding is strictly between Professor Dumbledore and Nicholas Flamel.
Hagrid mentions Nicholas Flamel, and then he goes, "Oh, damn, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that." proving that Hagrid is not someone that you can trust with secrets, but yet Professor Dumbledore does. So after this, Harry gets the invisibility cloak. He then wanders around the property freely because he can, and then he eventually finds the Mirror of Erised. Now, because the mirror allows Harry to see his dead parents, he visits the mirror time and time again, and the next time we see Dumbledore is while Harry is sitting in front of the mirror, and Dumbledore is like, many people have wasted their lives standing in front of that mirror. Right? And if that's true, why do you have a mirror that powerful and that destructive on school grounds?
Men have wasted away in front of it.
And the thing is, Dumbledore mentions that he knew Harry was visiting the mirror time and time again, but he still let Harry do it. And this is while knowing that the mirror could seriously mess up a person's mind. So after getting Harry Potter hooked on this mirror, Dumbledore goes, I think I'll be taking this mirror away now. And that's like giving your best friend a gift like a video game, let's say Call of Duty, and then your friend gets hooked on this game, only for you to show up one day and be like, well, I hope you like the game, but I'm taking it back. See ya. And because you took the game away, now your friend feels like he's missing something in his life. So that's what Dumbledore did to Harry. So soon after this, we see Hermione, Harry, and Ron in the Great Hall. They're talking about Nicholas Flamel. They find out that he was involved in the Philosopher's Stone, or the Sorcerer's Stone, or whatever you want to call it. And they then figure out that the three-headed dog was guarding the stone.
Nicholas Flamel is the only known maker of the Sorcerer's Stone.
Right, and if three little kids can figure that out, then clearly Voldemort can. So then the crew then go outside past curfew hours to meet Hagrid, and when they meet him they go, Hagrid, we know about the Sorcerer's Stone. And then Hagrid goes, oh blimey, and then proceeds to tell them more information. Now because Hermione, Ron, and Harry are out there past curfew hours, Malfoy snitches on them, and as a result they all get detention, and then they all get sent to the Dark Forest. Yes, the same one that Dumbledore said was off limits. Right, and the craziest thing happens while they're out there. Harry then gets attacked by Voldemort, who's feeding on unicorn blood to stay alive. And once again, Harry Potter's life was at risk. So then Harry Potter's life gets saved at the last minute by a centaur, and when he shows up he goes, Harry Potter, what are you doing here? Your name is known to many creatures out here. It is not safe to be out here right now. Right? And I'm sure you see the pattern by now. Harry is constantly thrown into danger time and time again, and when he survives imminent death, the people around him go, well, I'm glad you made it. That's 10 points for Gryffindor. So at this point, Dumbledore must know that Voldemort is running all over the premises. He must know it, but despite knowing that the most evil wizard of all time is on his school grounds, he gets a fake urgent letter from the Ministry of Magic, and the letter basically says, we need you urgently. So Dumbledore goes, I'm pretty sure Harry can handle this. I mean, he's an 11-year-old going against one of the most evil wizards of all time, but Harry, you got this. Peace, Harry. Right, so now that Dumbledore is off the premises, it means that Voldemort is now free to get what he wants. Okay, so cool. So after this, Harry, Ron, and Hermione have to face 3 death-defying challenges to reach the Sorcerer's Stone. And once again, they could have died, but Harry then makes it to the last room, and he finds Professor Quirrell there staring in a mirror. Now we all know what happens next. Harry defeats Voldemort with the power of love by touching Voldemort's face until he falls into pieces. And that's how he defeats the Dark Lord, by touching his face. In fact, if you watch this movie again, you'll notice that Harry hardly uses his wand at all. It's almost like he forgets that he's a wizard or something. And the thing is, while he was facing Voldemort, Dumbledore could have appeared right there and then because we know he can do that. Or maybe Dumbledore could have sent something or someone to help Harry, but instead he does nothing and lets Harry Potter fight against an all-powerful wizard by himself. And Harry's just 11 years old at this point. So after Harry defeats Voldemort by himself, he wakes up in a hospital and Dumbledore's right there like, well, I'm glad you did it, man. You're the man. We couldn't have done it without you. So after this, Harry Potter gets out of the hospital, he meets up with Hermione and Ron, and then it comes time to announce the winner of the House Cup in the Great Hall. So at this point, it looks like Slytherin is about to win the cup. They have all the points, they're celebrating, they're even announced as the winners in front of everybody.
Slytherin House.
And then Dumbledore's like, Not so fast, bitches. And then he awards Gryffindor with just enough points to win the House Cup, just when Slytherin thought they were going to win the cup. I mean, come on. Anyway, Dumbledore is reckless. He almost got Harry Potter killed multiple times. He left Harry Potter alone to be terrorized by the Dursleys. And when everybody needed him the most, he was nowhere to be found. That's the video. If you want me to discuss somebody else, let me know down below, and I'll catch you in the next one.